Hey, what's happening, my friends? Jason Woodland back again with Always the Journey TV. This is episode number 54. Gosh, we're rocking and rolling. I'm loving it. This morning was wild. I usually do these interviews from my home office, and my internet decided to quit working. So I had to cruise on down to my new office. So I'm excited about that. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. I sincerely appreciate all the love and support that I see out there in the community. Watching these interviews to learn more about all these amazing people out here doing way cool stuff. We talk to everybody from business owners, people are musicians and side hustles and event spaces and artists and everything between. I mean, people who work for others. I just want to talk to people who are passionate about what they do. And that's the big thing here. So again, thanks very much for tuning in. Please, if you haven't already, throw us a subscribe. And if you enjoy the content, which I know you will, throw us a thumbs up on the video. I appreciate it. Anyway, today I'm extremely excited about introducing to you a very good friend, Amy. I'm going to go through some details about her before I bring her onto the show first. Amy and her husband, most notably, are the owners of the Sugar House Bar, The Ruin, Yalecrest Restaurant 108, and the newly opened local bodega, Central 9th Market. In October 2016, Amy co-founded the Downtown Artist Collective, DAC, that is. DAC is an artist-run gallery and a place for artists and the community to collaborate and share in a cooperative environment through the gallery, student and workshop space. She puts her love and support for local business into action by being engaged in engaging and creating business vitality in the Sugar House and downtown communities, and even spent 3 years as president of the Sugar House Chamber and Community Alliance. Amy currently also serves as a board member of Flourish. If you may remember, we had Amy Altizer, the founder of Flourish, on episode number 11. So definitely go back and check that out. Amazing organization. She's also serves on the board of Aspen House of Salt Lake City. She is also a longtime member of the Junior League of Salt Lake City and holds a place as member of Spy Hop Capital Campaign Committee and the Girl Scouts of Utah Fund Development Committee. When not working or volunteering, which I don't know if there's any time outside of her not working or volunteering, but when she's not, she sincerely enjoys spending time traveling with her husband and children and working out and reading. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to introduce my friend, Amy. What's happening?
Hi. Goodness, when you read all of that, I thought, what in the world? What do I do with my day? That was a lot.
Oh gosh, it's awesome seeing all the cool things you're doing out there because I mean, for people like us, we love getting involved and just doing things, and sometimes we're gluttons for punishment, and sometimes it's just straight from our heart, right?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's like a cycle. You get into it and you just can't stop, especially when you see the fruits of your labor, or you just see like the goodness that can come out of it. It's really difficult to not involve yourself in a lot of different things. And Salt Lake City is so easy to get involved in. So yeah. So thank you. Yeah, it's actually quite humbling. It was nice to have that read to me. So
Yeah,
makes me proud.
absolutely. Well, Amy, you're an amazing member of the community and you do so much. And I wanted to have you on the show so we could spotlight you and talk about what got you involved, like what inspired you, like what does this path look like? I want to know your story, and I want to share your story with others who might not know either. So I always like to ask, what was it that inspired you to get involved in things you do? But what does that previous path look like? I mean, what did your youth look like, briefly, and if you can give us a little bit of that background, that'd be great.
Yeah, I think part of the reason why I wanted to go into business for myself was, well, I grew up with a single father who had his own business, and he had to hustle to provide for my brother and I. And while I know he wasn't around a lot because of that, there was freedoms that were afforded to us because of it. And I don't think I recognized that till later, when you start thinking, well, why did I decide to do this? It's really difficult to own your own business, and there's a lot involved. And I don't know, I think some of that has to do with watching my dad and the way he operated. Also, when I came to Utah from Lake Tahoe, where I grew up, to go to nursing school at Westminster College. And I didn't end up becoming a nurse. Those are some very special people, and I'm special in certain ways, but definitely not in that way. So, but one thing that I learned at Westminster, one thing I felt immediately was this sense of community and this sense of your role as a community member. And that's where I also met my husband. And my husband, who is just, I think he was born just a natural entrepreneur. I don't know if he's going to watch this and be upset, but I don't know if he could ever really work for somebody. It's just his personality. I think he's the one who has to hold the keys. And so naturally, once we got together, it just became apparent that was going to be our path, was we were going to be doing things for our own and building our own dreams rather than working for others and helping them build their dreams, if that sounds right. I mean, that sounds a little rude, but I did have other jobs. I have worked for other people, and thankfully I enjoyed those jobs. But yeah, so I think, does that answer your question enough?
Absolutely, it does. Yeah,
Okay.
because I mean, we do a lot of sort of mirroring, and we follow mentors in our lives, whether that be parents or someone in the community, or maybe if it's a musician, even in some circumstances. So it sounds like your father was a pretty big inspiration then, watching his path in his business ownership. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes, I think when I think about it, yes, for sure. And we came from a smaller town, and it was, I think, kind of easy as a business owner to have a place in that community. So seeing what that meant to him and how proud he was did mean a lot to me. Yeah. Yep.
Nice. That's really cool. So, okay, so now the businesses. I mean, you've got your hands in a lot of different things, which is really cool. What were some of the inspirations to start the businesses that you're currently working in right now?
The inspiration. So the inspiration to go into food and beverage was because we were bored, I guess. I don't know what we were thinking. So I had a retail store down on Broadway, which was a lot of fun. Wasn't very lucrative. And during that time, the idea of the ruin came into our lives, partly because we wanted to have a space where somebody in their mid-30s, early to mid-30s, felt comfortable going, to be able to meet somebody new, meet their friends, just have a chill, loungy kind of place. Ended up being Sugar House was the best location for us at that moment. We couldn't find a building to purchase or even a building downtown. We wanted to be downtown, but we ended up in Sugar House. And I'm glad we did. It's been a fantastic place to experiment in that realm of food and beverage. From that, 108 came out of that experience through one of our partners with 108. We were familiar with him, and that's been a whole nother ride during COVID. It's been really hard, and it's continuing to be hard. But I've fallen in love with food and beverage. I've fallen in love with the people that work with me in that space, my staff, some of the vendors, I've become good friends with. And it's such a small industry, really, in Salt Lake City. Food and beverage is a tight knit. You can't go too far, so you need to be on your best behavior most of the time. But it's been such an incredible way to be involved in the community and be involved in kind of shaping a little bit of our culture, as well as kind of helping change some of the landscape of the industry. As long as you work with others, there are opportunities to really make some great changes. So yeah. I think it literally just kind of fell into our laps, and we decided to take it on. And some days I wonder if what we were thinking, but I'm still smiling. And we're going to be doing another one down on Edison, and so it's not like we're not backing down. We're
Not
just
letting up.
No, we're not letting up. Not at all. No.
I love that. So I unfortunately haven't had a chance to come and check out 108 yet. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, and when did that come about?
108, so 108 has been open for 3 years. We were not the initial people to open it. We just came into it during COVID. One of the previous owners moved out of the state, actually. So we took on his portion of the ownership. So we have a partner. And part of us were curious about owning a restaurant, how different it would be from owning a bar. And holy cow, it's so different. Having a back of house is a whole nother experience. And then having them work together with the front of house, some days, wow, it's difficult, but I've got some really great people, and I'm learning so many lessons that unless you're in that realm, you don't learn those. And moving forward with this other space that we want to open down on Edison, we want to have a kitchen. We still want to be a club, so we don't have to adhere to some of the, food to alcohol ratios and be burdened with that. But learning that dynamic, it's just been the best way was to just dive in and learn it. As well, that was such a fantastic place. It is such a fantastic place in that neighborhood. That's who comes to see us. It's everybody in that neighborhood. And during COVID, if we didn't have all of those folks, we wouldn't have made it. It's a close-knit community in the Yalecrest area. I would love for more people outside of the neighborhood to come visit us, but we're definitely supported by the local neighbors. So it's been,
Nice.
It's a big operation.
That's really cool. And I often say this to people. I say there's a secret society of business owners, because as a business owner, when you're like knee deep in the trenches, there's certain things that you cannot learn by reading books or talking to others or taking classes or going to school. There's certain things you have to learn trial by fire, period. And although I haven't been in a full-blown food service, but when we owned the tea company and we had a tea house over in Mill Creek, we did, high-end Italian desserts and tea, and we didn't have like a full-blown kitchen. We weren't making breakfast and lunches and dinners and that kind of stuff. And what we were doing had its own set of complications. The hours, the employees, all that kind of stuff. I mean, it adds an entire layer of ultra complicated scenarios. So running a restaurant, I can only imagine, because it's a whole bunch of other things. I mean, of course, there's a lot of really great lessons and fun stuff there, but there's also a lot of stresses as well.
Stresses, mainly. it's and then you add COVID to it, right? And it adds a completely different layer of complexity. The only way through it is to keep breathing and just stay present and stay positive and hope that we can get through to the other side. And then, as an owner too, I'm in there and I'm trying to show my staff that I feel confident, I feel hopeful, I'm happy with what they're doing, I'm happy with the direction we're going. Or if we need to recorrect, we're recorrecting when we need to, and sometimes that looks different every day, actually. But yeah, it's that part. Sometimes I think, well, maybe we should have done this not during COVID. Maybe this would have been a better opportunity to learn more. But this is our reality. So if you can make it through something like this, man, you can make it through everything, because I don't know how much worse it can get. It's really about as bad as it can get in that world. And but with that, I jumped into it, and you immediately have to become a team. You immediately have to rely on each other and support each other in ways that I don't know has ever happened before, at least in the businesses I've had. I mean, we've always been close, and they all end up they tend to be like my family members, and then become my friends once they move on and go to different places in their life. But man, you just have to band together and support each other, and you find out about your staff in ways that you wouldn't. You have to be vulnerable, and you have to be way more patient and understanding. And it's been that part I've really enjoyed, because you get to the meat of a person really quickly. Everybody is struggling in a lot of different industries. But man, in food and beverage particularly, everybody is struggling. So you let your guard down almost immediately and have to just be there for each other.
Wow. I was actually going to ask a sort of a derivative question that I think you just nailed. I was going to say, what is one of the biggest lessons you've learned working in food service during COVID? And I think you nailed it. Is there anything else you'd like to add to that particular type of question?
No, I think that's the biggest lesson, which I love, because I feel like one of my biggest, as I get older and as I explore some of my inner self, why do I do what I do, or what drives me? It's really to help people. And a lot of my helping comes through healing in weird ways, right? And so if you can have an employee that needs you, and you can support them and love them. I know that sounds weird as an owner. I do. I love everybody who comes into my realm, especially when we work together in different ways. There's a healing that takes place that hopefully when they move on, because you don't get to have everybody forever, as hard as I try and as hard as I throw money at them to make sure they don't leave, they move on to better and bigger things. And then they become my friends, and I can have a different relationship outside of work, because there's boundaries. But there's a healing that takes place, both for me and especially for them. And to see that is fantastic. And, I think this industry allows that a lot more than certain other environments. We don't have cubicles. We're working together directly. We're bumping into each other. You're in the thick of it. So you have great opportunity to change somebody's lives in that way.
Exactly. Gosh, I love that you said that. And that's another one of the many reasons I wanted to have you on the show, is because you are a person of service. You're a person of action. You're a person that wants to make positive things happen out there in the community. And I commend you for that. And that's really awesome.
Thank you.
So tell us about the geographic locations. So technically you've got 3 different businesses that have brick and mortar. Is that right?
Well, yeah, we've got several, but we can just focus on that food and beverage. But yeah, we have the Sugar House location is the Ruin, and that's on Wilmington. 108 is up in Yalecrest off 17th East and 13th South, across from where Eggs in the City used to, Eggs in the City used to be, by Immigration Market. Central 9th Market opened in the spring, and that's down on 9th South and 2nd West area. It's actually 161 West, so it's just, we're neighbors with like Lizzie's and Troubadour Salon and Water Witch. We share a wall with Water Witch, and that's been a lot of fun. Our partners down there are just 2 of the coolest guys, and I have to say, it was just by happen chance that I got to meet one of them on Instagram. And I reached out to him and said, hey, we're looking for a food partner for this other bar that we're doing downtown. And I said, would you be interested in chatting? And he said, yeah. And it just all kind of evolved in such a organic way that I've never been so grateful for social media. Some days I'm like, I just can't stand this. It's a time suck. And it's, but man, it's just worked out great. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. But I have to say, we haven't really made it public, although it was made public through a downtown newsletter. We are moving the Ruin.
Where's that going to go?
It's going down to Main Street. So the address is 159 South Main. It's just 2 doors south of Eccles Theater. So our neighbor is Eva's. And,
I know that spot.
Yeah, so we've been doing that build out for a while now. And with COVID, once again, you're learning all these lessons and patience and things. We hope to be open by Thanksgiving. So we really haven't made it a public announcement yet, but we're about to. I'm starting to kind of formulate the content for that message that we'll start sharing. And we have told some of the people that come into the Ruin often to let them know. We just feel like we owed them some of the transparency. And I'm really going to
this is being live streamed to 800,000 people right now, right?
Yeah, well, welcome. That's fine. I guess that's my way of announcing it. Now I don't have to go on Instagram and tell people. We'll just do it this way.
Awesome.
But I am very happy. I am very sad that we are leaving the Sugar House area, and that came about, during COVID. We just unfortunately couldn't make things work out with our landlord, and we had to pivot. We had to find some other place, and we just luckily fell into the lap of this location, and it hasn't felt more perfect and more right. So I'm really excited and proud of what we're going to be able to provide on that end of Main Street. It's, Regent Street's in our backyard there, and Main Street's in our front, and there's a lot happening downtown, and I'm so excited to be a part of it. And so
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about then some of the other businesses or locations. You said that to focus on the 3, but if you can give us sort of like a broad stroke of some of the other things you're involved in, that'd be great.
So, in related to food and beverage, we will be opening another location down on Edison, where our ad agency used to be. So it's, where Campos is, in between Campos and Copper Commons. Diabolical Records, Adam, he's our neighbor there. So that building we will be building out probably as soon as we close out the ruin and that construction anyway. So that hopefully will be opening next summer. We're very excited about that. And so, with that, we have some commercial real estate and residential. We have apartments, and I help manage that. I work with our manager. I find myself there a lot, but I'm not really the manager. You don't call me if your toilet's leaking. You would call her. I deal with other things, but I do love being there. It's a beautiful building on 5th East in South Temple, or just off South Temple, and it's from the early 20s, and it's a romantic building, and the tenants in there respect it and love it just as much as we do. So it's a fun, and we keep it affordable too. I would say 30% of the tenants are my actual employees or my past employees. And I never realized how expensive. I mean, I've had a home for so long. It's so expensive out there. And so we try to keep it affordable, or we keep it affordable for people. So there's very, very few vacancies. And it's nice to have people that I love and adore in there. So that's great. So we have that. My husband him and his brother have a manufacturing company of vitamins and minerals. They're in Centerville and in Ogden. So I don't have much to do with that. I used to just have to go to trade shows and kind of be in the booth when they would do that. But luckily we haven't had to do that in several years. So that is that. And we still have, a role with STS, an ad agency, super top secret. And they're fantastic. They've moved into our building here by my office. So they're our neighbors. So I get to see them every day. And they're a talented bunch of people, incredibly talented. Nice. So, and then as you mentioned, I have Downtown Artists Collective. That's where I'm at right now. It's a little bare because sadly with COVID, we shut our doors and we haven't reopened. We've been kind of testing the waters and taking a pulse of our members to see where they're at. We've had some shows in here with some community people, and that's been great, but nobody really feels comfortable yet coming back out. So the space is here, and we own the building, so luckily it's safe. And right now people have used it for all sorts of events. It's a great event space. And so I don't think, is there anything else I do? I can't remember. Go through my day.
Oh, that is so awesome. I love that. So as far as let's go back to 108.
Okay.
What specifically, is it a breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Like, tell me what like the perfect client looks like for that place.
The perfect client. It is not breakfast and lunch currently. It's just dinner. We're doing dinner Tuesday through Saturday. Ideally, it would be breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But with COVID, I should say with staffing, we don't have the bandwidth. We just don't. Some days, I have to be honest, we don't even have the bandwidth to do Tuesday evening. It just depends. Right. It's really tricky. So the Price point is a little higher, although I think, that's been the case everywhere because, you got to increase your price. Our cost of goods are through the roof and our labor is double what it was before all of this. So I would say the client is definitely going to be okay spending $24 for a plate of food. But we have a lot of families that come in. We have a kids menu, and that's affordable. It's a really cool space. Our patio is, I might be a little biased, but it's the best in the valley. It's absolutely gorgeous and
Nice.
it's safe and we keep it warm now with this
Yep.
weather. We have heaters. It's covered with some canopies and we probably won't be able to use it all winter, although last year with COVID, people did want to sit outside. So we were able to facilitate that. And we can again this year, should that happen.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's definitely I feel like we have more adults that come in. Great space for large parties. We constantly are booking 6+ parties. We have big tables and this ability to bring people together in that way. And that happens every night. We have large parties. So
Nice.
yeah, it's like a contemporary American food, really good. We have a raw bar that we do on Wednesdays with oysters and shrimp and crudo, a hamachi crudo, and that's been a lot of fun. People have been coming in droves. We sell out of oysters within an hour and 15 minutes, which is fantastic. It's fun to see. And we do have a bar in there as well. So it's a full service and the bar is 21 and over only, but it's a beautiful bar. It's breathtaking to sit by. And and we do make great drinks. We have the Ruin Old Fashioned over there. That's our best seller, I should say. But yeah, it's good food. I'm very proud of it.
That's awesome. And you said that's with a partner. So that business you said has been around for about 3 years,
3
and you
years.
came into a partnership during COVID.
Correct. Yes.
Nice. Yeah, I've seen some of your pictures on social media, and I didn't know if it was like a coffee joint or if it was like a, part and part or what.
When I would post on my personal, it was because I was the barista. We didn't have a barista, so that I came from that background many years ago. But I loved that, and that was when we were doing brunch. We hope to bring brunch back again, but we need to staff up and get meaty, and once that happens, we can do it. But right now, we just don't have it in us.
Yeah, exactly. Just for the fun of it, when you did have your brunch, what was your favorite brunch plate that you served?
Biscuits and gravy. Our biscuits and gravy, I never eat like that ever, especially now that I have new health restrictions in my life. I don't eat like that, but I would eat like that. I was like, I worked all day. This has been a long day. I'm going to totally eat this. And I even took them home. If there were extras, I would take home the biscuits and gravy, but it was good. Something so simple, although the biscuits aren't always that simple to make, but man, they were great.
That's awesome. So, someone as busy as you are around the clock, what do you think keeps you going on a day-to-day basis?
Honestly, I wake up. I wake up early, so I have about an hour and a half to myself. I wake up between 5 and 5:30 in the morning, just so I have time alone with myself. I meditate, which has given me a foundation that I never knew I needed. I wish that I would have learned meditation when I was in elementary school. I think I would have, just been I still had a great childhood. I had a great, I'm doing great, but just the meditation has saved my life. And from that, I can go out and be a good leader. I can be a good wife, a good mother, a good friend. And I can just find this path, not all the time. It's hard, right? Every day is hard and every moment is hard, but I'm learning to lead with my heart, and I'm just learning to kind of be in a flow state that I love. And I love it. So that I think really helps me get through my day. And I know how to center myself. If I start spiraling, I can recognize it and kind of regroup and do it in a way where nobody like notices, but do it in a way that will completely change the way I'm interacting with somebody. So that has been huge, giving myself that time. I work out every day. Okay, that's a lie. Not every day, because I don't always have time.
Yeah.
But I do work out 5 to 6 days a week. And it's not always like a sweaty kind of like I come out of it just, looking like I worked out. Some days it's a stretching, honoring my body and lengthening it and giving myself mobility because I'm on my feet all day. So treating my body with tenderness and love is important. And giving myself that allows me to go and give so much of myself everywhere else, I think. If I didn't have meditation and a practice of moving my body, I mean, I would be a mess. I don't think I could do what I'm doing at all.
Yeah. I 100% agree with you there, without a doubt. And I'm with you. Meditation is paramount.
Yeah.
I started getting into meditation probably around 20 years ago. And I agree with you. I think that that's something that could be taught in school, even if it's just like, hey, let's meditate for the first 2 minutes of the day, even, to start that practice is just would be so great.
It is. I do it both on my own, but I also do it with a group of people through TuneIn. And my instructors have just enlightened my life, and the little nuggets of knowledge they bring or insight it's been fantastic. As well, I've joined a meditation book club. And so I love reading. That's really what I love to do when I'm not doing other things. And so that's been encouraging. And we've read some amazing books. And then we have the most beautiful conversations around it. And I look forward to that first Wednesday of every month because of it. And I'm reading books I never probably would have picked up, but they're just really enriching. And
Do you have an example of one you'd like to share?
Well, the one we just read is called Nature and the Human Soul, and it's huge. There's a lot to unpack, but I think I'll be working through that book for the rest of my life, just in order to kind of keep progressing through life and recognizing. I think there's a lot of nurturing I need to do for myself that I didn't realize, and that's okay. Reparenting to some degree as well. And it's just recognizing some of our behaviors and kind of moving past it. I don't know. The book was a lot. I don't even think, I mean, that you would need 2 hours. In fact, that's what we did. We took 3 hours to discuss it. There was just so much meat in that book. It's Bill Plotkin. He wrote Soulcraft as well. But there was so much in that book to take from that we had to do 2 months because it just wasn't enough. And everybody just got different pieces from it. I suggest it. It's a deep one. But yeah, so I love that is helpful for me to go, like going back to your question of how you can do things. It's finding time for myself so I can give to others. Like filling my cup up. I don't always wake up and fill my cup first. That doesn't happen. That's reality. I'm a mom, and I'm a wife. And I'm a friend and I'm a business owner. And some days, I come last, and that's okay. But I try to make it a priority that the first thing that happens in the morning is I come first. Coffee comes first. And then my French bulldogs, because they like to get fed. And then I come after that. But yeah,
that's
I think
awesome.
It's huge. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So, if you wouldn't mind sharing with us, what would you say is maybe sort of like the grand scheme of what you're wanting to reach overall? Like, what are some of the big goals that you're wanting to achieve?
Oh, it just in general in my life.
Yeah, in life, in business, just
Well, I mean, ultimately in business, it would be, to make it through COVID and create a really great space for people to make memories in and enjoy themselves, whether you're meeting your best, reconnecting with somebody that you haven't seen forever, or you get to meet somebody new. I want to be able to create spaces like that and for people to remember them. One day it'd be great to sell it and be out of it, like, and not have to do all the stressing. I don't foresee me doing this when I'm 80 by any means. So it's,
Right.
building up something that's worth something, and along the way, creating a cool space in each of the locations here. And Salt Lake is growing. I mean, you see it, we all see it. Like, you can't not see it. It's construction is everywhere, and the progress it's outstanding. And to be a part of that is pretty exciting. So I would love to also be on the back end in some of the shaping of it, if I can, in any way. I don't know what that would look like, but I would like to get back involved with downtown once we move downtown. It was really fun to be a part of the Sugar House business community over there. Very easy to be that. And great way to meet people. It's like, so many entrepreneurs, business owners are a quirky bunch. So it was just really fun to get to know a lot of people. But I don't really know what I think I don't know, like, my ultimate goal in life, other than to be happy and joyful and to see my kids be happy and productive people in the community. I'd love to, live long enough to retire and travel, because that's not always a possibility right now. But I mean, I don't have a problem looking into the future, because, that brings me joy knowing that I am working towards something. But I'm really trying to work on staying present, because sometimes I get overwhelmed with the future and what it could hold. It's really scary. I mean, we're making, obviously, business decisions today that will hopefully affect positive things in the spring or next summer. But ultimately, I don't know what my future will be. But I think it'll be good and it'll be fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, and that's why I named this podcast Always the Journey, because it's about really doing your best to be paying attention to what's going on while you're trying to meet that next benchmark or that next goal, paying attention to that journey, because that's most of life, right? I mean, the goals and the benchmarks come, here and there, but you live all the time. So you got to be present to the best of your ability. So I think that was a really cool answer. So, so moving into a close, I've got my final question is, what is one of your favorite songs, or one of your favorite quotes, or both?
Or both? I have to be honest, music is on all the time, but usually it's because somebody else has it on and I'm just listening to it. I used to be into music, and now I listen to podcasts or books on tape, depending on which book club I need to. My meditation book club, I'm the writer. I write in books. So quotes, I've got a billion quotes I've written down, but I do have one that actually I posted. Can I read it? Because I don't have it memorized.
Absolutely.
This one I was introduced to recently from one of my meditation instructors, and it just stuck with me. And maybe it's just because it speaks to me in this time. Although I think if I heard it 10 years ago, it would speak to me. And I'm sure when I hear it in 25 years, it'll speak to me. But it's by L.R. Nost. And it's, life is amazing, and then it's awful, and then it's amazing again. And in between the amazing and awful, it's ordinary and mundane and routine. Breathe in the amazing, hold on through the awful, and relax and exhale during the ordinary. That's just living heartbreaking, soul healing, amazing, awful, ordinary life, and it's breathtakingly beautiful. Wow. And I wrote it down and I posted it on one of my social medias. And I mean, it kind of makes me emotional, because it's like, yeah, it is all that, but it's also all that and beautiful. Like, there's just something so cool about it. So I don't know. That's kind of my day. Some days it's like that. Even like,
oh, absolutely.
Just replace my life. I could say days are amazing and awful moments. Yes. But yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Can you please do me a favor and email that over to me? Because I'd like to put that in the under your bio in the YouTube section, because I think
Okay.
that's just so powerful and so cool. I think a lot of people would get a lot of value out of that.
Yeah, for sure. I will.
Awesome. So, is there anything that I may have missed that we need to learn about you, or anything else you would like to share?
I'm not really one to always like offer up things about myself. I like to kind of stay quiet, I guess, sometimes. But recently, I had the opportunity to be involved in somebody's life and change their life, and it's a platform I'd like to stand on soon, and I might have an opportunity coming up. But I was able to donate a kidney to a friend, and you know, I've done a lot of really cool things in my life, but right now that has been absolutely amazing. And so I would encourage people to looking. I don't know if it ever calls somebody, they can always reach out to me. But if there's ever something that calls to somebody about donating, a living donation, there is such a need. And I had no idea about this part of the living. I knew about kidney disease, and I never really thought about living donation. And it was an easy, amazing experience, safe up at the University of Utah. But I don't know exactly how to word it yet, because I'm still coming to realizing like what kind of impact it made on her, and therefore on me. My life will be forever better because of it, forever. Both my health, my mental state, and just what I love about myself. So I don't know, maybe you'll see me more in the future doing something else with that. But I really find that something special about myself right now, and more special about my friend, and the way she gets to thrive, and watching her is amazing. So
Gosh, I'm so glad that you brought that up, because I remember when you went through that, and I unfortunately forgot that you went through that, because I mean, that was
it's
about,
okay.
what, 2 years ago now?
5 months ago.
What, 5 months?
Yeah, I did it May 13th, so almost 5 months ago. Yeah.
Gosh, this last, I think COVID, it's skewed time so
Oh,
dramatically that,
I have to tell you, I just had a birthday and I thought I was 2 years younger. And I was reminded by my husband, I'm 2 years older than I literally lied to people about my age. And I don't even care about my age, because I lost 2 years of my life. They were just gone, but I get it. Yeah. So it's recent. That's why it's kind of still like so beautiful. And yeah.
well, yeah, I don't know if you were able to talk to another dear friend of mine that
Yes.
went through that. I'm sure
He
you guys
was
were able to talk.
Yes, he was extremely supportive and has checked in on me. And that's another thing, right? You just get to connect with some of the most beautiful people. I may never get to see this person in real life, but he holds such a special place in my heart, because the support that he gave me was huge, and made me feel safe. It made me feel secure and special too, that he even reached out. And then there's like this bond, because until you do something like that, you just don't know. You don't. And I really wish more people had the opportunity to understand how beautiful of an experience that could be. And it's not for everybody, by all means. I mean, not everybody can do it for various reasons, but it's still something that I think more people need to think about. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. Congratulations to you. And I know you're not asking for that.
No, thank you
And I,
though.
but wow, I mean, what a phenomenal decision, and heartfelt decision, and
Yeah.
thoughtful decision. I mean, there's so many things, because I remember talking to now our mutual friend about it, and the mental and emotional transitions, and even roller coasters, is something
Mhm.
that someone who's never donated will never ever understand.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. But it's
Gosh,
beautiful.
yeah, it
Yep.
is definitely. I really appreciate you bringing that back up. And Amy Leininger, everybody, she is absolutely amazing. Watch
Mm.
out for her on social media. Also, if you don't mind, can you send me over some of the websites to the businesses and some of your social media handles, whatever ones you would like maybe people to check out or follow you on.
Okay.
So I can put that out there as well. Is that cool?
That is cool. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, if you don't mind, then I'm going to place you in the green room for another couple of moments while I wrap up the show. And
Okay.
yeah, but gosh, I sincerely appreciate you coming onto the show today. This has been wonderful to learn more
Yeah.
about you.
Well, thank you for thinking of me. It's very nice. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's an absolute honor. Cool. So hang tight just a few moments and we'll get this wrapped up.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Amy Leininger. She is absolutely amazing. Be sure to follow her and all of her businesses and nonprofits and all the stuff that she's involved with. She is such an amazing human being. This is episode number 54 of Always the Journey TV. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. I always point, but I don't have any buttons. And my friend Eric out in Hollywood is always saying, you got to put your subscribe button. I'll get that figured out. Anyway, subscribe to the channel, please, and throw us a like. And if you have any questions for Amy, throw them in the comments and I'm sure she'd be happy to answer them. But anyway, thank you so much for joining us and spending your time with us. And I'm going to see if we can get this wrapped up with the outro music. Anyway, much love, y'all. Have a great week or weekend, that is.